Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. We are going to give a brief update about the stabbing that happened at Lincoln High School. We have Lincoln Police Assistant Chief Jason Stilley here with operations, and then you'll also hear from Lincoln Public School Superintendent Dr. Paul Gosman. If you would let them both speak first, and then we'll take some questions afterward. AC Stilley?
Thank you. I do want to thank you all for showing up on very short notice. Provide a few basic details. I'll invite Dr. Gosman up to say a few details, and then we'll take any questions that you may have. Just a few minutes before 12 o'clock p.m. today, we were called to Lincoln High School at roughly 22nd and J Streets regarding a stabbing. School resource officers, along with Lincoln High School security staff, responded to a fight between a 14 and a 15-year-old. Based on preliminary investigation, we believe that they were engaged in a mutual fight when the 14-year-old pulled out a knife, a large serrated knife similar to a bread knife, and slashed the 15-year-old. At this time, I believe the 15-year-old has injuries to the forearm and also to the chest or shoulder area. The 15-year-old left the school and ended up seeking treatment at an urgent care in the area. The 14-year-old remained on scene, where he was attended to initially by the school resource officer and then ultimately transported to a local hospital where he was treated for his injury, which I believe is a laceration to the hand. At this time, the investigation is ongoing, and we appreciate your patience as we work through it. And with that, I'm going to invite Dr. Gosman up to the podium to say a few words.
Thank you. Good afternoon. We understand anytime there is violence at a school, it causes concern, and we want to reassure our staff and students and families and our community that we take this school safety seriously. As a superintendent and as a parent myself, I can tell you that the phone call I received today is not one that I want to receive. There were only a few students in the area during the incident, and we used what we refer to as the standard response protocol of hold. And a hold means that we hold students in their classrooms and out of the hallways while the staff members, the security team, and in this case the police, work to handle the situation. And once police determine that there's no longer a threat to any students or staff, the hold was lifted. I want to commend our staff members for responding so quickly using this standard response protocol to keep the area clear. They also remained incredibly calm, and they supported the students, even the students who were not involved in this incident. One of our administrators acted quickly to neutralize the situation. We're thankful for that administrator and to that administrator who stepped in, broke up the altercation, and clearly prevented more serious injuries from occurring. Our staff and students at Lincoln High were able to return to their routines and get back to teaching and learning relatively quickly, and we commend them for limiting the disruption and moving forward with the day. The reports that we've received thus far indicate that there were minor injuries for both students, but the police department, and I want to say how much we appreciate the partnership that we have with Lincoln Police, have assured us that this was an isolated incident and there is no active threat to students or staff at Lincoln High School. I want to assure the community that the students involved will face consequences outside of just the consequences with the legal system, but with the school. But of course, due to student privacy, I will not be able to share those consequences with the community. We appreciate our school resource officer and Lincoln Police for their quick and thorough response, and we will continue to cooperate with them as they investigate this incident that we believe is serious, but isolated. Again, we understand that anytime there's a mention of violence at school, it causes concern, and we want to reassure staff, students, families, and our community that we take this seriously. If you see or hear anything, we send this plea to our community. If you see or hear anything that causes concern, please contact the Lincoln Police at 402-441-6000. Any LPS staff member certainly can take that information, or we always have the green Safe to Say button right on our website. Thank you.
Any questions?
Were the injuries stabbing or slashing?
Slashing.
Slashing.
That's my understanding, yes.
How did the student manage to get to the urgent care? Did somebody take him there? Did he go himself?
You know, it's a little early on, so we're about 2.5 hours removed from this. We just know that we responded at about 11:58, 11:59. Initially, our school resource officer that was inside the building at Lincoln High was radioed over the radio by other staff at Lincoln High School, and that's what prompted him to respond. And then, of course, he channels it out to the 911 communication center that lets all officers know about that incident. At 12:06, we were notified at the urgent care that someone showed up with a slashing injury, and so we responded to that.
So the administrator broke up the fight. So when that happened, the 15-year-old who left to go get treatment at the urgent care just managed to leave the school?
Keep in mind, I think any time that there's a disturbance between two kids and one has a knife, I mean, that's a very traumatic event for a lot of people. There's a lot of stuff going on at that point in time. I don't exactly know right now how he got to the urgent care, but that's going to be part of the investigation, of course. Keep in mind, we do have security cameras both inside the school that LPS has access to. There are other cameras in businesses that are outside, and we'll be able to put that together, but right now I don't have that answer for you.
Can you say what injuries the 14-year-old sustained?
It appears to be a laceration to the hand, probably not dissimilar to a knife slipping from his hand. So, again, not life-threatening, something that is being treated right now, and he'll ultimately be released.
And the school resource officer tended to him?
Correct.
Where in the school did this happen?
It's, I think Dr. Gossman could probably speak specifically to it, but it's my understanding it's a lower level and a distance to the south end of the school.
That's correct.
Do you all know what started the altercation?
We have an idea that it was some type of an issue between the two of them. We're kind of running down exactly what all that was, but we have an idea. I'm just not prepared to disclose that right now.
Have these students had violent issues in the past in regards to school?
I don't believe that Dr. Gossman is going to be able to get into student discipline or any records. At this time, I do not have any knowledge that there's been an ongoing issue between the two students.
Any reason as to how the kid got a knife into school, or just in the backpack, or?
At this point, we believe he retrieved it from a backpack.
Does that raise any alarms, Dr. Gossman, or?
Yeah, you know,
protocol or anything? Just-
every situation of this nature raises alarms, and every time we have an opportunity like this, which, you know, certainly we don't celebrate an opportunity in this regard, but we'll go back and look at our protocol. We have incredible safety protocol in this district, and I'm confident that our teams will meet together with our partners, review the incident, and see what we could do differently to prevent any challenges again in the future, but it will just take some time to do that work.
And I do want to highlight and elevate what Dr. Gossman did say regarding the response. I think the response by his staff, security staff and otherwise, was exemplary in a very chaotic event. I also want to lift up our response by the school resource officer as well.
Resource officer sustained any injuries breaking up that fight, or the faculty member?
There are no other injuries known to any other faculty member or the school resource officer. It was an isolated between the two involved in the fight.
Is there any idea what will happen to the student who stabbed the other student?
Yeah, so right now we are looking at charges, of course, being a juvenile, it's a referral, and then it's a conversation with juvenile probation on whether or not they're lodged. Right now we're evaluating whether or not it's appropriate for a second-degree assault, use of a weapon to commit a felony.
Is he being detained at all by LPD?
Currently he's being treated, and then we'll evaluate where he goes from there.
What's the next step? Just continuing the investigation?
Right. I mean, obviously we know what we know right now, but there's going to be other information, either Snapchat videos, other information that people might have about any, you know, the issue that really kind of boiled over today. We've got a lot of video to pour through, and so anybody that does have information, you're always encouraged to call us at 441-6000 or at Crime Stoppers if you feel appropriate. But again, we believe this is an isolated incident, and we're grateful that the injuries were not more serious. And again, I'm appreciative to the staff of Lincoln High School for being very prompt.
Were there other students around to witness what went down?
I believe so, but I can't give you a number.
I can't either. Very few. Very few.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you very much.